entire road was built from the highway up the mountain to Weaver's home so that tanks and over 1,000 government agents dressed in full military battle gear could be assembled around Weaver's house. ATF agents with machine guns were posted in the roadways to keep the neighbors back. This was in Idaho, in the United States of America, my country, in 1992. I vowed then that I would personally make it my responsibility to expose the truth to America. On February 28, 1993, the federal government attacked the Branch Davidians in Waco. In the course of investigating our government's actions in Waco, Texas in 1993, I came across the shocking, horrifying proof that our government intentionally murdered its own agents and the people at Mount Carmel in Waco, Texas. Over the next year, I gathered more information about Waco and made a detailed documentary and a tape about the children who were killed in Waco. If you haven't seen these 3 tapes, I urge you to do so. For information on ordering the 3 tapes, you could call 1-800-749-9939. You will see indisputable proof that our government murdered not only its own agents, but 96 people in Waco, Texas, 25 of them children, 17 of them under the age of 5. On April 19, 1993, and perhaps the most publicly televised, outrageous, and inhuman atrocity in the history of this country, government agents rammed tanks through a church home and used poisonous chemicals on 71 men and women and 25 children, 17 of them under the age of 5, in spectacular color before our eyes, burning them to the ground in Waco, Texas, while government agents and the media parroted lies intended to convince the world that somehow these people were meeting a fitting end, yet none of them had committed any crimes. This isn't the justice for all that we grew up hearing about. What happened? What has gone so very wrong? How do we put it right? As I began searching for the answers to those questions, it became clear to me that these pockets of brutality and corruption are merely symptoms of a larger, far more pervasive evil that is now literally controlling this country. This is the New World Order plan, and the scenes you've just seen and the scenes you're about to see are all about the New World Order, and they are why I am doing what I'm doing now and why I won't stop, and why you must listen and why you must know what really is going on in this country. Find out who these people are, what their plan is, and how they got so much power over us. Find out what's going to happen so you can help stop the New World Order.
Do black, unmarked helicopters exist? Of course they do. You're looking at some now. These helicopters in Tupelo, Mississippi are Kiowa attack and surveillance helicopters made by Northrop. The small ball on the top is special surveillance equipment that allows the helicopter to descend below a hill and still see above the hill without being seen. These UH-60 Blackhawks were used in Panama. This UH-1 helicopter was filmed this year in Gulfport, Mississippi. Instances of black helicopter sightings are numerous. These attack helicopters were filmed during the siege in Waco, Texas. The small one has some of the highest firepower of any helicopter. These black helicopters were filmed at the FBI headquarters in Waco, Texas by Linda Thompson. Joe from Texas sent us these pictures of a black helicopter buzzing his home. Hilda, another patriot in Mississippi, has been harassed by helicopters and snapped these shots. In downtown Washington, D.C., Linda Thompson and her family were followed for several blocks by a helicopter that passed over 7 times. The Thompsons were able to tape it on the last 2 passes. As you can see, the chopper came down quite low. This is just one of several instances of the Thompsons being buzzed and harassed by black helicopters since helicopters first buzzed the Thompsons' home for 3 days in March of 1993, after Linda Thompson began exposing the government's involvement in Waco, Texas. They were doing this purely for harassment. We have received numerous reports and pictures of such sightings from people who have been harassed by black helicopters, usually for speaking out against government activity. In the meantime, the media and government disinformation specialists were telling people that the black helicopters don't exist, and people who claimed to have seen them were crazy. We knew they existed. We began to wonder who they are and where they come from. The harassment the Thompsons have experienced didn't stop with just helicopters. In the parking lot outside American Justice Federation, this target was drawn on Linda Thompson's car. This is one of the cars that followed a staff member at AJF. The office has been broken into, brake lines have been cut on cars of staff members, the office has been buzzed by helicopters, the Thompsons have been shot at several times, their dog was killed, and all of the staff at AJF have been followed repeatedly. One day, Al Thompson was followed by this car, and despite yelling and honking at the driver, he couldn't get the fellow to turn and look at him. Of course, it was a government agent. We've taken pictures of government agents following staff members in airports, cars, and so forth. Our phones have been tapped and our mail tampered with. Shown here is one of the times we had a sweep done for bugs in our office. We knew we must be onto something for someone to be harassing us this much, so we decided we had to find out who these guys are. Who flies the black helicopters and what have they got to hide? We found several black helicopters parked near our offices at the Indiana National Guard Armory in Shelbyville, Indiana. Sometimes there would be black helicopters there, and sometimes not. We called the Indiana National Guard to ask about the black helicopters, but all they would tell us is that they were a unit from Kentucky. We found that when the black helicopters were there, they would park them in the back and disguise them among some dark green ones. It's very difficult to tell the black ones from the dark green ones, especially in the air. You can see the differences here. Here's a green one shown in the background with a black one in the front. Now here's a small black one in the front and a dark green one in the back. We clearly were having no problem finding these helicopters in the air and on the ground. Newspaper clippings we were receiving